Hello everyone, in this video I'll be ranking all the DLC weapons in Lies of P's Overture DLC, including this Judgment Cut and looking attack here we get from one of the weapons. There'll be no spoilers in this video, and here are all 10 of the different weapons. Now, there's a lot of pros and cons to each of these. The first one we'll be starting off with here is the Royal Horn Bow. I'm also doing these with 34 points in each of the attack scaling, so you can see the weapon damage at about a mid-game. So with the Royal Horn Bow here, this is classified as a dagger, but it's a bow. It's an interesting weapon. It's probably best to be used as a secondary weapon, but it's got A scaling and technique, and it's got the dodge shot and patience shot. This is possibly the most interesting weapon in the DLC because it's got this range attack that you can do. Now, you are stationary when you're firing the shots, but it does have this dodge attack. If you press Y here, you can shoot like that and get some extra range on the enemy. This is also a great weapon for breaking posture because you just have to fire off that shot there and then you can get in, do your attacks. I think that the Royal Horn Bow is a interesting new weapon. It's very fun to use. It does come in handy against like one of the boss fights, the third boss fight, I believe. I had a lot of fun using this weapon against it. But overall, there's a lot stronger weapons obviously in the game. With a bow, it can't be too overpowered, but I would have to say having this dodge attack is super useful because if the enemy gets too close to you, you can avoid it altogether. Although a lot of the DLC bosses have very small arenas where you can't fully utilize this. It does have this charge shot as well, which does quite a bit of damage, but as a whole, I think the bow is all right. It's fun to play with, and if you prefer sticking away from the boss and kind of sticking, you know, trying to stay as far away as possible with getting your shots in, it's great for that style of gameplay. But overall, I think it's best used whenever you're exploring around, and any of the ranged fighters that you may go against, this can just help counter them. It also has a cool attack if you dodge and then shoot as well, so the moveset on this is pretty unique. The damage output isn't as high as a lot of the other ones, so with that, I can't put it too high up on this tier list, so I'm gonna have to say it's I would say A tier for its uniqueness. Getting a ranged weapon like that can make some fights a little bit better, but it's not going to be winning any of the boss fights, so it could easily sink to the B tier against bosses. But overall, I would say just due to how nice it is exploring, that we're going to put it into the A tier. And next we got the Death's Talons. Now this weapon here is interesting because it's based on a sword. It has A scaling and technique and D in motivity. It's claws. It's great to have a claw style weapon in here. The dodge reduction is only 47%, so it's not super powerful, but it's got a very fast moveset to it. So you can go in with these claw attacks here, and then you also have this charge, which looked really cool. But the real benefit to this weapon comes when you use the rampage ability. So pressing left bumper and Y button here, you get a much faster movement or much faster attacking here. And it's honestly quite some strong damage. Now, you do build up posture damage quite quickly with this weapon, and then the attack whenever you go off, it looks awesome. This is great for fans of Wolverine, but also its main attack here is also pretty decent. So you can press the Y button there, and it has follow-up attacks, which you can see there, it shreds. So if you're looking for something that's going to be pretty powerful, quick, and it looks cool too, I think the claws are a pretty solid weapon. Scaling off of technique is really nice too, because this gives a dexterity style based build. Some pretty powerful weapons that are good at close range here. Obviously not as large as like a greatsword, so you do have difference in range, and that's kind of one of the limitations of this weapon. It also goes through its the durability pretty quickly as well, but this rampage here is really awesome and makes this weapon super powerful. You also get this wide style attack on your heavies here if you use the rampage ability. So yeah, I do think that this weapon is pretty solid overall. So with that, I may move it to the A tier. Maybe the horn bow could go B tier, somewhere around there. This damage output is much higher, so it's a boss weapon. It makes sense. And next up is La Vendetta. This weapon is honestly pretty good. I've seen some people are underrating how good this is. It's a blunt style weapon. It's got a 71.9% damage reduction while guarding, so it's great for guarding. On top of all that, it's got the B scaling and motivity and C scaling and technique, so great for quality style builds. But the big thing is, it's got its strength and explosion ability here and the patient swing. So with the strength and explosion, you see the blade gets red like that. It's got extreme ability to, yeah, 3 attacks, and we already got the boss posture broke. But you can see there, when you do a charge attack, it does massive amounts of damage. Some of the highest damage that I've seen towards a boss or enemy's posture in the game. So yeah, you can see there, a single swipe there with that charge heavy breaks his character's posture. So yeah, I think it's really fun of a sword or a great blunt weapon. Powerful ability there. And the left bumper plus Y ability as well is pretty good. So you just go with that baseball style swing, and you can see there we're able to easily break the boss posture again. So if you're looking for a weapon that does massive amounts of stagger damage, this is great. Now, I will be exploring all the different handles for these, so I'm not going to do that in this video. I'm just going to take these weapons as they are, because they're all really good, even just with their basic handles there. And yeah, I'd have to say this blade in particular, extremely powerful, and I can see the handle being really good too because of this twisting attack that you can do with it. So yeah, the La Vendetta, very solid weapon for a quality build. So I'd have to put this one somewheres into the, I'd have to say also A tier for this one, maybe above the claws. The posture damage is where this weapon really shines, because that charge attack, if you land that, the boss's posture is draining quickly. Now, there are a couple bosses in the DLC that don't really have their posture broken at all, especially into the second or third phases, so that's something to keep in mind. Not every boss will be countered by this, but for those that have weaker posture, this is the best weapon for that. And next up, we have the Puppet of the Future's Welder Blade. This is one of the more unique weapons. It's a great sword. It's got 58% block on it, and it's got the overheat stab and the fire implication. So this is primarily a fire-based weapon. Your main poke is literally burning the enemy like this. So I think that alone gives it style points. And then the charge attack here, you can do a kind of charge up attack, does 2 strikes. And then the critical hits look really cool. It's this big long sword. Reminds me of something from Monster Hunter. The Y ability here, you charge it up and does this fiery thrusting attack, and then the block button there does enhance it, giving it a blue flame, further stacking up fire. So for anything that's weak to fire, this is a cool weapon. If you like flamethrowers, this is a great weapon for that. And its long reach with its poking attack on the charge attack makes it very powerful. So overall, this weapon is really great, especially against fire enemies, anything that, you know, is weak to fire. You do have to be mindful, though, you're easily hit while you're in this stance, so it doesn't have the highest stagger damage either. But I think this weapon has very cool style points. It's something different than what we've gotten, and getting a comically large poking sword like this, like look at the size of this compared to Pinocchio here, incredible. I just think that this charge attack is very useful, because if you're, you know, you're blocking, getting your distance, you can get pretty far away and still connect with it. So points for that, points for its cool light attack there. Yeah, I'd have to say this is another, I'm gonna put this somewhere into the A tier. I think this is a solid weapon, maybe lower on the A tier. They did put a lot of really useful weapons in the DLC, which I can appreciate, so yeah, we're gonna throw that there. And on the topic of large stabby pokey weapons, we have the Lorenzini Bolt Blade. This comes with explosive shot and the single stab attacks. It has B skilling technique, C and motivity. It's a great sword. It's slow, but you're gonna see it's really cool with its attack. So the normal light attack is this, just a poking thrust style attack. It does have great range though, so if you're a little bit further away from the boss, you do kind of bring yourself towards them. Despite it being a slow attack, I think that's nice. The charge attack, however, is really cool. You can see that there, so it's like a rocket boosted power. Yeah, you have range for days with this attack, so if you're far away from the boss, that's not to worry. This is great for people that, again, similar to the bow, like to keep a bit of distance from the boss, and if you like that, plus great swords, this is a good weapon for you, because it is slow, yes, but there's the explosive shots. If you press the Y button, only uses 1 Fable Art. It does a pretty decent amount of damage there. You can see we're getting around 1,000 damage on that, or 600 damage on that. Great posture damage, though. And then with this attack here, you can charge it up as well, so the left button plus Y, so that also gives it some really good range. The best part about this, I would say, is probably the handle, and I'm curious to see how this stacks up with a lot of other weapons. I've tested on a few thus far, and I liked it. So yeah, I think this is a great weapon, despite being slow. If you do have a gap that needs closing, that rocket launcher closer is actually very useful. So its damage isn't as high as some of the other weapons on here, so that's something to keep in mind. But I think we've seen it in Elden Ring Night Rain recently with Welder and his ability to close gaps between bosses. That's something that's extremely useful in the world of fast-paced bosses today. Being able to actually connect on your attacks is very massive. So with that, you can just create your distance and do the charge attacks with it. And then if not, you also have your Fable Arts, which are also really strong at creating distances like that. And it also has a follow-up attack on that there. So you can do 1 and then 2, 3, 4, burn off all your explosions there. So it's great for burning through that. And another thing is, if you got the shield here, you can also poke with the Aegis up. So that is some of my favorite style of gameplay. I like to use the more blocky focused attacking. So you can do that perfectly with this. So yeah, I'd have to say the Lorenzini Bolt blade, despite not the best block for a greatsword, still good enough. I'd have to say, yeah, put a lot in the A tier. They did put a lot of really great weapons in this DLC. Could maybe put this one in the B tier. Yeah, this just has an incredible handle. So next we got a more interesting weapon with the Maniac's Pinwheel blade. So this is a great sword. It's got 64.8% block on it, ace scaling, motivity D, and technique. And it's got the charge and storm slash abilities. It's comically large, and I feel like this handle is going to be a really good handle. So this is how you attack with it. But the big thing is here, you also have the charge attack, which very large swiping attack. The Y ability here, which you dash forwards, and then the blade starts spinning like that. And then the block plus Y there, which you do a large spinning attack like that, which has massive amounts of damage to it. So yeah, this one's cool because it does hit multiple times on the enemy with the blade spinning around like that. Once you get them spinning, it does quite a good chunk of damage per swing. You can see there we got three swing combo. It's got 2200 damage there, and with a charge attack like that, yeah, you got I think this is one of the more damaging weapons in the DLC. It's also, from my experience, if you use any type of any of the adhesives on your blade, so putting lightning on this here, I found that it charged it up pretty quickly with getting that on the enemies. So yeah, you can see there 4 hits, it got it already on them. And yeah, this weapon is pretty fun. I think it also looks cool. I love that it spins like that and you get all your attacks off. Boom. Powerful Fable Art, though. That's really where this weapon shines. You can see there, we just with a single Fable Art, 3 charges there, you already have your statuses applied to the enemies. So I do think that this makes it very valuable, as bosses and different enemies are pretty weak to that. The Fable Art also, again, can break the enemy's posture, so you can get another attack in. So yeah, I actually think this weapon has got to be one of the better ones. I was expecting it to be like Giza's Wheel or the Pizza Cutter from Elden Rings and Dark Souls and Bloodborne, but hey, this one shocked me. It's cool, and I think it looks cool with the way it spins like that. So style points, and it's powerful. Great Fable Art. That has to put this weapon up into at least the S tier. I think that this one is just absolutely fantastic. Give it a shot, use those kind of tips and tricks that I use there, and you'll have a lot of good fun with it. And next up is the Silent Evangelist Mace head item. This has a C scaling and technique, B and motivity, blocks 57%. It's a large blunt weapon, and it's got the acid spray and linked payback swing. Now, where this item truly shines here is its Fable Art. So you can make it spew up acid on the enemy there, and you can see that we already got the acid on the enemy. And then you can go ahead with applying lightning to your blade, and then you can stack up multiple statuses. So this is great for anyone that wants to be able to apply 2 different things on a boss. Because yeah, you can get acid. A lot of bosses are actually pretty weak to the acid damage there, so you can shred through the enemy's health bar with this. And if you got the Fable Art, you can continually spam that attack there. Its block attack here has a large swipe, and then you can get yourself in to do the spewing attack. I think the Fable Art's pretty decent overall, but the big one is just the spewing attack here, because getting the target acid damage, massive. It's got a good charge attack here, and then for its main attack, it does reach you, it brings you in a little bit, so that's nice. Again, anything that's going to close the gap on enemies is super useful here. So if you get far away, you can see there, it brings P back in there. Yeah, I think that this is actually another underrated weapon. Being able to apply statuses like this is just very strong in itself, especially it being acid too. It is a large blunt weapon, but you close the gap. So again, similar to the other weapons, like if you're far away, I know that's a really far step, but yeah, you can make your way in there with this weapon. So I think that alone makes it a little bit better. Very large, strong, and for that reason, I would have to say that this is another weapon that could easily go into the high A tier. I might even put it in the S tier, just because I think that the acid ability on that is super useful. Even if you just swap to this weapon to apply that and swap back to another weapon, that's pretty solid. So yeah, I'm going to put that up in the S tier, especially if you got anything that's going to restore your Fable. You can just continually spam that. Next up is the Arche Guardian's blade. And similar to the last one, this one gives you statuses build up. So this is a sword with 48.8% block. His skills on C, technique, D for motivity, and B, advanced. So if you're an advanced build, this is a weapon for you. So with this, you got the Thunderbolt. You can do this and strike and infuse your blade with lightning. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 attacks there to be able to apply it. Not the fastest build up, but the nice part about that is you can also build that up with another type of element, so fire damage even. And then when you do that charge attack there, it does that cool lightning burst, which will basically apply the lightning on the enemy there. So yeah, you can use the lightning here and then go with the charge attack. And with a couple of these, you're likely, again, going to set up the lightning. And then with this ability here, the block plus Y, you can just literally do this Kamehameha lightning beam at the enemy. I think it looks really cool too. So yeah, lightning it's decently strong, especially against some other bosses. And I feel like this will be good against the final boss of the main game. Yeah, the lightning attack, being able to infuse your blade. I love weapons like this, so that is cool. I think that this in itself is got to be another. You know what? I might actually move the this one. I'm going to put this one in the S tier and put the this one maybe in the A tier there. I just think that this one has a better application, but both of them being able to apply statuses with the Fable Art is extremely useful. And again, that other weapon there being able to also apply it is great too. Now, I'll leave the best for last, but next we got ourselves the Pale Knight. Now, if you like gun lances or gun blades, you're at home with this. This literally is a big gun as a sword. Style points aside, this is S tier for its style, but being able to do this charge attack, which is like a dodge as well, super cool. And then you can do the block, press your block with that, and you get a powerful attack that follows up with that. So you can, yeah, you can see their charge attacks are crazy with that. And you got that explosion whenever you power it up. It's got that little blue appearance to it. The Y attack there does a big explosion, so that's really useful as well, because you can attack from range. It does consume 3 Fable, but you saw there, strong attack. Being able to charge it up with its ability there, the Strengthened Bullet, is really good. So that's it without the Strengthened Bullet. It's pretty strong as is. So we'll just wait for this to... So normal attack there, 476, and then when you power it up, we're able to go ahead and does a bit more damage, but the big thing being is the charge attack there. You can see so much more powerful. Yeah, this blade is pretty crazy. Again, if you like gun lances, yeah, critical hits also look super cool. This weapon is very powerful. It doesn't have the highest block, but that's okay when you're literally exploding the enemy like that. It's a worthwhile weapon. And the fact that you dodge back after firing a shell at the enemy is super cool too. And you got a good range with this because you shoot with the gun. So yeah, bonk. Yeah, you got range for days. So this weapon, I'd have to say, it's got a crazy good weapon art, long range. The Pale Knight is another one that we're going to throw up into the S tier. So I would say it's probably right around there. Finally, we got Monad's Rose Sword. It's the final weapon that you get. So obviously it's going to be strong. Beast scaling, emotivity, and technique for those quality builds out there. 46% guard block, but it has the blossoming and the by the name of the rose. By the name of the rose is pretty much Judgment Cut End. If you're a fan of Devil May Cry, you're going to love this weapon, because when you do this, you're going to see my durability on this weapon shred all the way down very quickly, because it's hitting very hard. But yeah, this attack here is the true shining star of this weapon. You can see it's doing massive amounts of damage there. Yeah, 5,700. Yeah, it's crazy. It's also got a good movement speed, so whenever you're attacking with this, similar to the 2 Dragon Sword, it's got movement for days, so you move around quickly. I love that about the 2 Dragon Sword, and this is just a better version, basically. The charge attack also really cool because you do that special attack. And one thing I appreciate about this weapon is the little rose petals that fly down after just playing Expedition 33. Very reminiscent of that. You can press the Y ability here for this super dash. You can just shred through the enemy. And yeah, you see there, it looks really cool too. So yeah, this is the king and queen of aura in terms of weaponry. Super cool Fable arts. I love the Judgment Cut End, and it does go through your durability of the weapon very quickly though. As you can see again, just below me, it's draining very rapidly there using that special weapon attack. And the critical hits also look cool there, so you can see a big explosion whenever you use that sword. Boom. This is an easy S tier weapon. It's possibly the best weapon, I would say, in the game. I'm a huge fan of the 2 Dragon Sword, and this is just a better version of it. So yeah, we have to put that up into the S tier, recognize it where it is. So you can see that there. I think that some of these weapons are very good due to the amount of status they can apply easily. Even just being able to attack with this blade and get the statuses off is huge. And then with this one here, being able to use a gun blade and shoot from range, super cool. This one with the very fast attacks, I could actually possibly goes around there. So yeah, Again, these are just my opinions, so feel free to leave yours in the comments below. I'm always curious to hear how other people use these weapons. Also, let me know if there's any cool ways that you can use these with different handles. I find that one of the most interesting parts about Lies of P, so feel free to leave comments with your favorite combinations as well. Let me know what Lies of P Overture content you would like to see next. Hit the subscribe button below if you haven't already, and I hope you have an incredible day.